there was an interest in mix of uses there, but also a need for promoting jobs. So we'll talk a little about this later, but in those two areas that are in the hatched, those are where we're promoting not just creating opportunities for housing, but also an incentive tool to support multiple floors of jobs. And then lastly, as I said, we also included the Bedford Atlantic Armory as another opportunity. And then there's this little notch south of the Armory where Acacia Network, a nonprofit-based organization, has a yep. Sure. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, absolutely. I'm so sorry that I'm not. Okay. Jesse, you don't mind? Okay. Okay. How is this? Is that okay? Oh, it's a little okay. All right. I'm gonna project. Use my lungs. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'll just say our engagement did not stop in 2023. While we were doing our technical work, like putting together a land use application and the environmental review, we also held a scoping meeting for the environmental review. We held a business roundtable, tenant support event, and public realm open house. And then the steering committee also continued to meet. So based on that framework being created, that was really important to share early in the process so then we can get started in our environmental, which included about 18 different topic areas, ranging from looking at noise, air quality, hazardous materials, to schools, neighborhood character. I won't read all of them, but it's meant to be a very comprehensive document studying all of these potential effects. So based on that, what we call the draft environmental impact statement, we did identify a few impacts in 4 areas, which we want to highlight. First, on open space, just a general need for both active and passive open space. Second, on shadows, and that relates to 2 very specific properties, which we can go more in depth if helpful. And then an impact on historic and cultural resources, which is actually very common whenever we do larger scale rezonings in, I would say, central Brooklyn or Manhattan. And then lastly, on transportation and construction. So we also created or proposed, which I'll just walk through this a little with everybody. So this is a report that includes a ton of really important information on population vulnerability, housing and market conditions, and it includes a variety of demographic info from changes in population to specific housing conditions like rent burden, rent stabilization, maintenance deficiencies, and then housing price changes. I'll just say it's a little difficult to see here, but in the areas around AAMUP, within Prospect Heights and Clinton Hill, we found a low and lower risk of displacement based on our metrics. And then in Crown Heights North and Bedford-Stuyvesant, we had an intermediate and higher risk. And then particularly within Crown Heights North, the reason for the intermediate risk was owed to the strong market pressure that's facing. Jesse. Absolutely. Come this way? Okay. All right, I will. Okay. Perfect, okay, great. Okay, so I'll just repeat, when we did our racial equity reports, we found a low and lower
the displacement risk index actually is, yes, I can be louder. Yeah. Absolutely. So the displacement risk index includes these three key components that you see right here. So the level of risk is comprised of population vulnerability. So that's things like race, rent burden, income. So areas with lower income folks that are, non-white, for example, have higher levels of population vulnerability. There's also housing conditions. So areas that have more rent stabilized housing would be considered to have more stable housing, lower risk. And then market conditions really is comprised of, how quickly are housing prices changing in this area and in surrounding areas. So neighborhoods that have housing prices that have fluctuated significantly and live, adjacent to other areas where the same thing has happened, those areas are considered to have high market pressure. So what Jonah was saying is that in CB8, what's really driving the market is the market conditions. So there's, it's more moderate on population vulnerability, and also for housing conditions, it hasn't been shown to be kind of higher than the rest of the city. But yeah, that's kind of a quick snapshot, and always happy to talk more about this.